recipients of the Lifetime Achievement Awards, the GNA's Moira Gomez.
If there was one word to describe Moira, for me it would be that she is inspirational.
Relentless.
Passionate.
Unstoppable.
Resilient.
Very ambitious.
This award honours an extraordinary woman who's done extraordinary for the Gibraltar netball.
Netball is a way of life. It's a purpose. It's about empowering and having the tools to make others believe in themselves and what they are capable of doing. And it's been a massive opportunity for me to use it as a tool to create choices for women and girls in Gibraltar.
Moira Gomez has played a vital role in shaping the growth of netball in Gibraltar, helping transform the sport from a small local league revived in 1991 into one of the ROC's most successful sporting communities. Through more than 3 decades of leadership, she helped expand participation, strengthen youth development, improve coaching and officiating standards, and raise the profile of women's sport across Gibraltar. She was also instrumental in helping Gibraltar gain international recognition through Europe Netball membership, bringing major international netball events to the ROC, including Europe Netball Open Challenge and the historic Netball World Youth Cup in 2025, which showcased Gibraltar's ability to host world-class sporting competitions, elevating the ROC's reputation within the international netball community.
So I think I first fell in love with netball when I was in middle school, and I was introduced to the sport by the PE teacher. And we worked towards our skills, getting ourselves better. And in one of the times that we had one of the sessions, she announced that we were going to participate in the inter-school championships. The word championships was already raising in my mind to say, oh my God, we're going to play something really big. And we participated in that inter-school, loved it from the very beginning, because for me it was playing as a team. And there are some sports that you play as an individual and some sports where some individuals just stand out. But netball is one of those sports that has to work as a team, and that's what I think is what I most like about it. There is this stigma that netball is a slow game, not very interesting, and that's evolved around the years that is just as fast and just as feisty as any other sport. And that's one of the things that I wanted to bring to Gibraltar. Let me tell you a little bit about the history of netball in Gibraltar. It's always been played for many years and decades in the past, because you can see some of the photos around the evacuation where there were already women's netball teams, and the Women's Institute in Gibraltar also played netball. But the majority of the time netball was played in schools, especially because of the heavy presence of services within Gibraltar. And schools like Loreto Convent, it was a main sport, and then in Girls Comprehensive we played during school time until around 1980s possibly, where it actually went dormant, and possibly because the services numbers were starting to reduce, and then it became dormant. 1991, some brave ladies, pioneers, decided to move away from services and start the association. So I joined them at the beginning as a committee member, but didn't participate much in decision making. and shortly after was called in to become vice president, and within a few months found myself as president because the former president had stood down for personal reasons. That was the time when we actually thought we need to formalize netball in Gibraltar and start something fresh. So on a typewriter that I borrowed from my brother, we started writing those letters and sending them over, and we started to formalize everything. Before that, we needed a constitution. So I turned up at the offices of Joe Hernandez, the head of what at the time was Victoria Stadium. He actually led, advised and informed many of the sports associations on how to start off, how to build on their current resources, if there was any funding available that the government could support us with. So he was always the backbone of sport in Gibraltar. And asked him, Joe, mira, I want to start an association. And he said to me, well, you need to have 8 teams to start your constitution, because those were the policy, and start from there. How many teams did we have? 6. So that was a big challenge in itself. How am I going to now find 2 more teams to be able to register to then start moving forward? My only choice was to turn up outside schools and round up some enthusiastic mums who came forward, and we formed 2 more teams to make the 8 teams. And I'm so grateful for those ladies, because they were the ones that started this adventure in netball. We couldn't have done it without them, because we couldn't have started. Applied to Europe Netball. That was in 1995 when this happened, and because we wanted to bring teams over. We don't have the luxury in netball to have neighboring countries that play the sport. We're quite isolated. So the whole idea of starting to bring teams over, going over, all of that was discussed. And we went over to our first competition at senior level, and we played as parallel to the competition. So these were qualifiers that they were being played, and they invited us as guests to play them, which we did. Set in the application, talked about Gibraltar, what we wanted to do, and where we wanted to get to. And there I was presented with a netball by one of the board members that had been used in the 1995 World Cup in Birmingham. I think when I received that netball, that was the time I made a promise to myself to take this sport forward, to empower, to even one day be able to host international events, so that the team's community in Gibraltar could see what netball was about.
We start, however, with netball, when Gibraltar played host to a World Netball International tournament from late last week, as 5 European countries, including Gibraltar, look to gain a world ranking position.
So how did we evolve? In 2012, Gibraltar Netball hosted the first ranking international competition here, and that involved the challenge developing countries within Europe Netball who did not have a ranking.
Joining Gibraltar was Switzerland, Ireland, Malta and Israel. And the requirement to gain a ranking was to play 8 international matches, with the format seeing all 5 sides play twice over 4 days from last Thursday. A gruelling schedule to say the least.
Where were we ranked? 38. 38 in the world, with much less teams than there are now. But we had a ranking, and that set the pace to where we were going to move.
The way I've seen it always is passion and the thrive to achieve more into netball. She never stops. She comes out with ideas, and I say, ideas loca, right? But they all work, and everything she comes up with is for the better of the sport.
We played under 17s and seniors, and that continued. We had a good challenge session at Europe Netball Council because the big countries like England, Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland, they were actually too strong for us. They were already established countries. And then countries like Malta, Ireland, Gibraltar, Switzerland, we were not very close to them. It was quite a big gap. So in one of the council meetings, I actually proposed to Europe Netball that they should introduce the Division 2, which allowed everyone not just to play at a pace, but to enjoy the sport too. And from there, we started playing in the Division 2, and then we could see what was more achievable.
She took us into Europe Netball, where we started to play against, regular competitions at international level. At the time, I was the coach, and was always really supportive in terms of youngsters as well, always looking at bringing the youngsters on and finding competitions for them.
We actually then introduced the under-19s as a long squad to feed into the seniors. We started looking outside, and we were invited to Hong Kong 4 Nations, where we won bronze medal. And we also brought in, with respect to coaching, we brought in 2 elite England coaches, Maggie Jackson and Denise Ellis, that changed the whole structure and culture of how our national squad should play.
I've known Moira now for 8-9 years, and when I first got to know her, you soon realise how dedicated she is and how much she's done for Gibraltar, and more importantly, how much she wants to support the region. And I think that's for me, that's one of the main things that she wants to support, and she wants to support in events, and she's willing to host, she's willing to argue, discuss, challenge, but always for the best for netball.
If you are over 70 years of age, you are at the greatest risk of death from this virus.
Unfortunately, post the Hong Kong 4 Nations and having won silver at the Europeans, gave us a pause when COVID hit us. But that gave us time to recharge, to review, to reset, to look at how we run things. We agreed that smaller groups for our younger players was necessary to give them that quality coaching. The Development Academy was born. The Performance Academy and Pathway followed to get the players ready, and everyone playing at their own pace, especially as children, because they develop around their bodies, around their mentality, and we wanted a fair opportunity for all. Every time Gibraltar Netball was hosting a European competition, we were raising the bar. And the raising the bar was getting our technical officials qualified to be able to host. We were getting our umpires in different exposures in UK and locally towards teams that would come, whether it was Army, Navy, and raise the standard, because all of that is raising the game.
She's created so many opportunities for coaches, umpires, players. I think being the women's leading sport in Gibraltar is a lot to thank her for. She's got a strong committee behind her and a strong group of volunteers, but I think her leading the way and her crazy ideas and ambitious ideas that she comes up with is like her steering and putting that forward to the whole netball community.
Gibraltar Netball is to host the Netball World Youth Cup in 2025, showcasing the world's top teams of players aged 21 and under.
She's brought a lot of tournaments, the under-21, the under-17, the Opens that we had in Gibraltar, but the World Youth was the pinnacle of the Netball Association.
After hours of training from the players, months of planning by organisers and many kilometres travelled by the teams, the Netball World Youth Cup is finally here.
2012, hosting that competition and raising the bar moved to some conversations in 2017 post the Netball World Youth Cup in Botswana, when I was at the council meetings and Claire Nelson from Scotland mentioned, you know, you should consider hosting the next Netball World Youth Cup.
Are we ready to welcome the host nation? Please welcome Gibraltar!
And I looked at her with, you know, fright and scared, really, really scared, and said, I don't know what this woman is talking about. I'll never, ever do that. But you know, when you park that idea, and I came back and spoke to the committee, and we parked that idea, I'm not going to be able to do that. But then as life takes you, and I refer again to COVID, because for me, COVID was opportunities and not a negativity. And there was a lot of negativity around COVID, but it's how you respond to situations. Because of a medical condition, I was grounded for 8 months during COVID. But that was the perfect opportunity. I had gone into Regan Lima's office, again CEO of GSLA and a good friend of mine, and said to him, Regan, we're considering expressing our interest for the Netball World Youth Cup in 2025. What are your thoughts? And he just simply said, go for it. And that's what we did. We went for it.
The official song of the competition says, we are all mighty as a rock. Let the competition begin.
It's running through your veins. Can't you see how victory is calling you by name? No, there ain't no doubt about it. You gotta lift your voice and shout it. Just like the Mediterranean sun, you will shine bright.
She is a force of nature, and you just sort of, I think, get swept along with her because she has so many good ideas. I see her as quite a visionary person.
I mean, she's been a role model for coaches, for players, on the court, off the court. She's always there to hear you if you have a problem. She's always been to help you out. She's one of the people that I know that has dedicated most of her life to the netball.
And her dedication to the sport has been tremendously. Since I've known her, I've never seen her giving up on anything. She comes up with the idea and says, "Are we going to do this?" And she says, "We'll do it. No matter what, we'll do it. We'll think about a way to achieve this, to go to here, to go to there, to represent Gibraltar here, to even hold a World Cup." Her passion has never dropped.
She lives, eats and breathes netball.
She's very ambitious and loves netball on the court, off the court, the people involved, and she loves just bringing everyone together and making and creating opportunities for all ages and all abilities.
As far back as I can remember, my mum has always been involved in netball, and 95% of conversations were probably to do with netball, about netball. It's what she does.
Netball is definitely something that she lives for, even through all the adversity, that she's gone through.
Netball is alive. She lives netball, and she sleeps with netball, and wake up with netball.
She's always pushed everyone to the best of their ability, and always knows what it is that person needs. And it's even with myself, it's inspired me to always push to go one step more. There's never been a ceiling or a stopping point.
It's giving her an escape from day to day and something to work towards and push and allow her to grow as a sport. And we've seen that she's definitely done a great job, and we're all very proud of her.
There's some sort of connection with netball and my grandma, because they're just together all the time.
Yeah, and she's also really passionate about netball.
I can tell you what drives me is watching how women in sport have evolved in Gibraltar. When I was playing at a younger age, it was very much the norm or the culture in Gibraltar, or what was expected in a way, where women started family life and dedicated themselves to family life. Not everybody did, and I wasn't one of them because I still enjoyed my sport. At the time, I was asked by a sports reporter, "What is your aim for netball in Gibraltar?" And I simply answered, to make netball as popular in Gibraltar for women as football is for men. So that's been my drive, to make it as popular. However, along the way, I discovered myself that I could lead, that I could empower, and that I had a fantastic tool to use with women and girls and boys, which we are slowly introducing to the sport, to become the better version of themselves.
Recipients of the Lifetime Achievement Awards, the GNA's Moira Gomez.